So thank you all for coming, and tonight is going to be a lean night in terms of participation, but we hope that everybody's going to be able to catch up on YouTube. So what we're going to be doing tonight and next week, we hope to be able to complete the recitation of the peaceful deities and the wrathful, fierce deities, so that we have a complete picture of what it is to be engaged with the Bardo Thodol. So as many times as I've said that, it is, we recite this to generate the energy, the light, whatever, to be able to guide our family, friends, people that we know, don't know, and so on through the Bardo changes. But also it becomes it's a lesson for us. It is a practice for us in the living Bardo to be able to adopt this symbolism into our meditative concentration process. And so that when the time of death comes for us, we have a seamless transition that right away, because our consciousness is that of the Bardo of reality, there is no pause in being able to transfer our consciousness into the Buddha fields and become Buddha, become at least Bodhisattva, and have a real sense of what it is to be able to liberate ourselves from the suffering of samsara. So, with that in mind, we've already been through the daily prayers and the recitation, so we don't necessarily need to spend time with that. We can go back and look at that. You can read it on your own. And then part one begins with the time of death of the Bardo of death, and so we've been through that. We talked about through that, so we don't have to do that. So we'll begin with the peaceful deity families as we pass through the Bardo of reality, in that to be able to recognize the peaceful deities and become at one with those peaceful deities. So so the way in which this is done will be expressed. So what I think would be good, if we can do this, if we can say, Bernie, if you would start on page 81 and you
Okay.
read through the Buddha family through to where it says day 2. So day 1 would be when we're reading now the person is in the Bardo and so on, gone through the Bardo of death, and now is in the Bardo of reality. So day 1 represents that time. And then 81 through up to 85, or the end of the Buddha family. Then Brendan, if you'll read the next part, day 2, 85 up to the parts of page 89. Then I'll read the next part, um, 94, no, 90, 89 up to 94. And then Bernie, if you'll read again, 98 up to 103. And then Brendan, if you'll read from 103 to 114. Then I
Okay.
think
So
that
you
will,
want me to
yes.
start with day one and not O Child of Buddha Nature?
Well, let me see here. One second. Let me get to that page. Um, Correct. Yes. Start on day
Okay, sure.
one and
Okay, sure.
continue on, please. All right. So
Okay,
is
I can.
that clear
That's
enough to
fine.
be able to muddle our way through this?
I think
All right.
so.
So
For me.
please let's take our time reciting. I think the three of us don't rush. And I think it's important to be comprehensive, concise, but with enough space and heartfelt conviction to be able to recite this, so that it's meaningful, so that as you're reciting, you're generating that heart energy, that heart transmission that is going from your heart to the hearts of all the people that that are in the Bardo, people you don't know, and so on like that. So the message is going out to everyone. So there. So Bernie, when you're ready, please.
Okay, day one. On the first day of the intermediate state of reality, all space will arise as a blue light. At this time, from the central Buddha field called pervasive seminal point, the transcendent Lord Vairochana will dawn before you, his body white in color, seated on a lion throne, holding in his right hand an eight-spoked wheel and embraced by his consort, Akasha Datisvari, Datvisvari, sorry, a blue luminosity, radiant and clear, bright and dazzling, indicative of the pristine cognition of reality's expanse, which is the natural purity of your aggregates of consciousness, will emanate from the heart of Vairochana and his consort, and it will shine piercingly before you at the level of your heart with such brilliance that your eyes cannot bear it. Together with this luminosity, a dull white light, indicative of the realm of the gods, will also dawn directly before you and touch your heart. At this time, under the sway of negative past actions, you will wish to flee in fear and terror from the bright blue light, which is the pristine cognition of reality's expanse, and you will come to perceive the dull white light of the God realms with delight. At this moment, do not be awed by the blue luminosity, which is radiant and dazzling. Sorry, I have to change the page. Clear and very bright. This is the supreme inner radiance of pristine cognition. Do not be terrified. This is the light ray of the Tathagata, which is called the pristine cognition of reality's expanse. Have confidence in it. Be drawn to it with longing devotion. Pray with devotion, thinking, this is the light ray of the transcendent Lord Vairochana's compassion. I take refuge in it. Or in reality, is the transcendent Lord Vairochana and his consort come to escort you on the dangerous pathway of the intermediate state. This is the light ray of Vairochana's compassion. Therefore, do not delight in the dull white light of the God realms. Do not be attached to it. Do not cling to it. The dull white light is the inviting path created by your own habitual tendencies for the deep delusion which you yourself have generated. If you become attached to it, you will roam within the God realms and be drawn into the cycles of existence of the six classes of beings. This dull light is an obstruction blocking the path to liberation. Do not look at it. Be devoted to the bright blue light. Focus intently on the transcendent Lord Vairochana and repeat after me the following aspirational prayer. Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence driven by deep-seated delusion, may the transcendent Lord Vairochana draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant light, which is the pristine cognition of reality's expanse. May the supreme consort Akasha Datisvari support me from behind, and thus encircled may I be rescued from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state, and be escorted to the level of an utterly perfect Buddha. You want me to repeat it 3 times like it says here?
Yes, please.
Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence driven by the deep-seated delusion, may the transcendent Lord of Vairochana draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant light, which is the pristine cognition of reality's expanse. May the supreme consort Akasha Datisvari support me from behind, and thus encircled may I be rescued from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state, and be escorted to the level of an utterly perfect Buddha. Oh, as I roam in the cyclic existence driven by deep-seated delusion, may the transcendent Lord Vairochana draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant light, which is the pristine cognition of reality's expanse. May the supreme consort Akasha Datisvari support me from behind, and thus encircled may I be rescued from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state and be escorted to the level of an utterly perfect Buddha. By making this aspirational prayer with fervent devotion, you will dissolve into rainbow light in the heart of Vairocana and his consort, and you will attain Buddhahood as the Buddha body of perfect resource in the central Buddha field of the dense array, Gana Vayuha.
Okay, so let me just interrupt for a moment here and just point out that on these pages, Bernie just read on the left side of the page, you can see the image of Vairocana and his consort Asakadatvishvari. So just as a reminder, and of course they are a mnemonic of the energy that Vairocana and Kasadattvishvari represent. So we have that picture to remind us of that. On the right side of the page is a sphere that is representative of the lights, of the bright blue light, that is that shoot of light that we see going from the left to the right of the image. And then around that is that soft white light, if we it's kind of gray, to indicate that the dark light that we might gravitate to if we're repulsed or we feel inadequate, to be able to become at one with the bright blue light. The goal is to be to become the embodiment of that light yourself, of the bright blue light or the bright red light or the bright green light, whichever phase that we are in, whatever deity that we are reciting, that we become that light. So if the light repels us because we're not prepared for that, then we might gravitate to the dull light. So this is just a mnemonic to help us to remember that. I'd also like to say that I gave a set of the Bardo Thodol to Garchen Rinpoche several years ago. And as he was going through it, of course, he doesn't read the English, but as he was going through it, and he came to these images of the spheres with the lights, and he made a point of pointing to it and talking to the other monks that were with him about that. And he had a very big smile. So nobody told me what he was saying, but I have to think that, there was some kind of recognition there. Maybe it's wishful thinking on my part, but he certainly reacted to that. So I took that as a very good sign. So now, where we just completed, where Bernie just made that recitation. So if we were to take the 49 days that we were going to recite this for someone, if we chose that we were going to make this commitment to do that, we broke this down, as it does in the book, we broke it down into phases so that we could do the introductory prayers and so on, then do a specific prayer for that particular day, and then carry on with our mantra recitation, and then do the closing prayers and so on. Then the next day, go to the next group and so on like that, continuing that, because to recite this in its entirety every day, it takes me 4.5 hours to recite this in English very, very briskly. So that may not be practical for everybody. And if we're sending out this heart transmission to the person who has passed, we have to remember, for them, time means nothing. Location means nothing. So these are concepts that are part of phenomenal nature. So as we are generating this energy, we are generating this love and compassion and sending this out to all beings, they are getting all this simultaneously. They are getting all this wisdom and compassion, bodhicitta, etc., and light simultaneously. So this helps us in our being able to understand this. And next thing is that if we're doing this as a meditative concentration, because that is really I think the object here is for us to become totally familiar with the Bardo Thodol as a meditative concentration. So now we can break it down into these composite parts, these individual parts, and we can become more and more familiar with them by doing that. If we try to do it in total all the time, it would, I think, tend to be overwhelming. So the third thing is that now what we would do in between these days, these recitations, now we would recite the liberation mantra, which is Om Mani Padme Hung Shri. So if we can, just for a short recitation, that we'll recite this in the melody that Gotchen Rinpoche has shown to us all. And we'll recite this Om Mani Padme Hum, thinking of all the beings that the light that is issuing forth from the Shri syllable is like igniting the 6 syllables Om Mani Padme Hum and their respective light that is going out to all the beings to purify all beings, to show them the way, to be able to liberate themselves and maintain that liberation. Om Mani Padme Hum Shri. 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 And then we would take a moment of dissolution, dissolving our own self into the light dissolving into all beings, into all the Bardo, into all the realms, all dissolving into the emptiness, all dissolving into the primal source. Okay, Brendan, if you'll continue with day 2, please.
Day 2. O child of Buddha nature, Ricky Boo, listen without distraction. On the second day, the purity of the entire element water will arise in the form of a white light. At that time, from the eastern Buddha field of manifest joy, Abharati, the transcendent Lord, Akshobhaya Vajrasattva, will dawn before you. His body blue in color, holding in his right hand a 5-pronged Vajra, seated on an elephant throne and embraced by his consort, Buddha Lokana. They are encircled by 2 male bodhisattvas, Ksitigarbha and Maitreya, and 2 female bodhisattvas, Lasya and Puspa. Thus, 6 Buddha bodies will be shining before you from within a space of rainbow light. A brilliant white light indicative of the mirror-like pristine cognition, which is the natural purity of the aggregate of form, white and dazzling, radiant and clear, will emanate from the heart of Vajrasattva, Akshobhaya, and his consort, and it will shine piercingly before you at the level of your heart with such brilliance that your eyes cannot bear it. Together with this light of pristine cognition, a dull, smoky light, indicative of the hell realms, will also dawn before you and touch your heart. At that time, under the sway of aversion, you will wish to turn away in fear and terror from the bright white light and come to perceive the dull, smoky light of the hell realms with delight. At that moment, you should fearlessly recognize the white light, white and dazzling, radiant and clear, to be pristine cognition. Have confidence in it. Be drawn to it with loving, longing devotion. Pray with devotion, thinking, this is the light ray of the transcendent Lord Vajrasattva, Akshobhya's compassion. Take refuge in it. I take refuge in it. This, in reality, is Vajrasattva Akshobhya and his consort come to escort you on the dangerous pathway of the intermediate state. This is the light ray hook of Vajrasattva Akshobhya's compassion. Be devoted to it. Do not delight in the dull, smoky light of the hell realms. This dull light is the inviting path of the negative obscurations created by your own deep aversion, which you yourself have generated. If you become attached to it, you will fall into the realms of hell, sinking into a swamp of unbearable suffering, from which there will be no immediate opportunity for escape. This dull light is an obstacle blocking the path to liberation. Do not look at it. Abandon your aversion. Do not be attached to it. Do not cling to it. Be devoted to the white light, radiant and dazzling. Focus intently on the transcendent Lord Vajrasattva Akshobhya and recite the following aspirational prayer. Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence, driven by deep-seated aversion, may the transcendent Lord Vajrasattva Akshobhya draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant light, which is the mirror-like pristine cognition. May the Supreme Consort, Buddha Lokana, support me from behind, and thus encircled, may I be rescued. From the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state, and be escorted to the level of an utterly perfect Buddha. Should I repeat that 3 times?
Please.
Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence, driven by deep-seated aversion, may the transcendent Lord Vajrasattva Akshobhya draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant light, which is the mirror-like pristine cognition. May the Supreme Consort, Buddha Lokana, support me from behind, and thus encircled may I be rescued from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state, and be escorted to the level of an utterly perfect Buddha. Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence, driven by deep-seated aversion, may the transcendent Lord Vajrasattva Akshobhya draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant light, which is the mirror like pristine cognition. May the Supreme Consort Buddha Lokana support me from behind, and thus encircled may I be rescued from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state, and be escorted to the level of an utterly perfect Buddha. By making this aspirational prayer with fervent devotion, you will dissolve into rainbow light in the heart of the transcendent Lord Vajrasattva Akshobhya, and you will attain Buddhahood as the Buddha body of perfect resource and the Eastern Buddha field of manifest joy, Abharati.
Om Mani Padme Hum Shri. 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 The dissolution. Next. O child of Buddha nature, Rikibu Kunchok Pema Dorje, listen without distraction. On the third day, the purity of the entire element earth will arise in the form of a yellow light. At this time, from the yellow southern Buddha field of the glorious Shramat, the transcendent Lord Ratnasambhava will dawn before you. His body yellow in color, holding in his right hand a jewel. Seated on a horse throne and embraced by his supreme consort, Mamaki. They are encircled by two male bodhisattvas, Akasagarbha and Samantabhadra, and two female bodhisattvas, Malya and Dupa. Thus, 6 Buddha bodies will be shining before you from within a space of rainbow light. A yellow light indicative of the pristine cognition of sameness, which is the natural purity of the aggregate of feeling, yellow and dazzling, adorned by greater and lesser seminal points of light, radiant, clear, and unbearable to the eyes, will emanate from the heart of Ratnasambhava and his consort, and will shine piercingly before you at the level of your heart with such brilliance that your eyes cannot bear it. Together with the light of the pristine cognition, a dull blue light, indicative of the human realm, will also dawn before you and touch your heart. At that time, under the sway of pride, you will wish to turn away in fear and terror from the bright yellow light, and you will come to delight in the dull blue light of the human realm and feel attachment towards it. At that moment, abandon your fear of the yellow light and recognize it as a pristine cognition, yellow and dazzling, radiant and clear. Let your awareness relax and abide directly within it, in a state of non-activity. Again and again, have confidence in it. Be drawn to it with longing devotion. If you recognize it as the natural luminosity of your own awareness, even though you may feel no devotion towards it, and you have not recited this aspirational prayer, all the Buddha bodies and light rays will dissolve inseparably into you, and you will attain Buddhahood. If you are unable to recognize the radiance as being the natural luminosity of your own awareness, then pray with devotion, thinking, this is the light ray of the transcendent Lord Ratnasambhava's compassion. I take refuge in it. This, in reality, is the transcendent Lord Ratnasambhava come to escort you onto the fearsome, dangerous pathway of the intermediate state. This is the light ray hook of Ratnasambhava's compassion. Be devoted to it. Do not delight in the dull blue light of the human realm. This dull light is the inviting path created by your own habitual tendencies for deep-seated pride, which you yourself have generated. If you become attached to it, you will tumble down into the human realm. You will experience the sufferings of birth, old age, sickness, and death, and there will be no immediate opportunity to escape from the swamp of cyclic existence. This dull light is an obstacle blocking the path to liberation. Do not look at it. Abandon pride. Abandon your habitual tendencies. Do not be attached to the dull blue light. Do not cling to it. Be devoted to the yellow light, golden and dazzling. Focus intently and single-mindedly on the transcendent Lord Ratnasambhava and recite the following aspirational prayer. Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence, driven by deep-seated pride, may the transcendent Lord Ratnasambhava draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant light, which is the pristine cognition of sameness. May the Supreme Consort Mamaki support me from behind, and thus encircled may I be rescued from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state, and be escorted to the level of an utterly perfect Buddha. Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence, driven by deep-seated pride, may the transcendent Lord Ratnasambhava draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant light, which is the pristine cognition of sameness. May the Supreme Consort Mamaki support me from behind, and thus encircled may I be rescued from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state, and be escorted to the level of an utterly perfect Buddha. Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence, driven by deep-seated pride, may the transcendent Lord Ratnasambhava draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant light, which is the pristine cognition of sameness. May the Supreme Consort Mamaki support me from behind, and thus encircled may I be rescued from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state, and be escorted to the level of an utterly perfect Buddha. By making this aspirational prayer with fervent devotion, you will dissolve into rainbow light in the heart of the transcendent Lord Ratnasambhava, and you will attain Buddhahood as the Buddha body of perfect resource in the southern Buddha field of the glorious Shamat. Om Mani Padme Hum Shri. 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 The dissolution. Next, please.
Okay, day 4. O child of Buddha nature, Rikibu, Jinpa Zangpa, listen without distraction. On the 4th day, the purity of the element fire will arise in the form of a red light. At that time, from the red western Buddha field of the blissful Sukhavati, the transcendent Lord Amitabha, will dawn before you, his body red in color, holding in his right hand a lotus flower, seated on a peacock throne, and embraced by his supreme consort, Pandara Vasini. They are encircled by two male bodhisattvas, Avalokiteshvara and Manjushri, and two female bodhisattvas, Gita and Aloka. Thus, 6 Buddha bodies will be shining before you from within a space of rainbow light. A red light indicative of the pristine cognition of discernment, which is the natural purity of the aggregate of perceptions, red and dazzling, adorned with by greater and lesser seminal points, radiant, bright, and dazzling, will emanate from the heart of Amitabha and his consort, and will shine piercingly before you at the level of your heart with such brilliance that your eyes cannot bear it. Do not be afraid. Together with the light of pristine cognition, a dull yellow light, indicative of the realm of anguished spirits, will also dawn before you and touch your heart. Do not delight in the dull yellow light. Do not become attached to it, and do not cling to it. At this time, under the sway of deep desire, you will wish to turn away in fear and terror from the bright red light, and you will come to delight in the dull yellow light of the anguished spirits and feel attachment towards it. At this moment, abandon your fear and recognize the red light, bright and dazzling, radiant and clear, to be pristine cognition. Let your awareness relax and abide deeply within it in a state of non-activity. Have confidence in the radiant red luminosity. Be drawn to it with longing devotion. If you recognize this radiance as the natural luminosity of your own awareness, even though you may feel no devotion towards it and have not recited the aspirational prayer, all the Buddha bodies and light rays will dissolve inseparably into you, and you will attain Buddhahood. If you are unable to recognize the radiance in this way, then pray with devotion, thinking, this is the light ray of the transcendent Lord Amitabha compassion. Be devoted to it. Do not turn away. Should you turn away, the luminosity will accompany you inseparably. Do not be afraid. Do not be attached to the dull yellow light of the anguished spirits. This is the inviting path by your own habitual tendencies for deep-seated desire, which you yourself have generated. If you become attached to the dull light, you will fall down into the realm of the anguished spirits. You will experience unbearable suffering of hunger and thirst. The dull light is an obstacle blocking the path to liberation. Do not be attached to it. Abandon your attachment. Do not cling to it. Be devoted to the red light, which is radiant and dazzling, and focus intently and single-mindedly on the transcendent Lord Amitabha and his consort, and recite the following aspirational prayer. Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence driven by deep-seated desire, may the transcendent Lord Amitabha draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant light, which is the pristine cognition of discernment. May the supreme consort Pandara Vasini support me from behind, and thus encircle may I be rescued from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state and be escorted to the level of an utterly perfect Buddha. Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence driven by deep-seated desire, may the transcendent Lord Amitabha draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant light, which is the pristine cognition of discernment. May the supreme consort Pandara Vasini support me from behind, and thus encircled may I be rescued from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state and be escorted to the level of an utterly perfect Buddha. Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence driven by deep-seated desire, may the transcendent Lord Amitabha draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant light, which is the pristine cognition of discernment. May the Supreme Consort Pandara Vasini support me from behind, and thus encircled may I be rescued from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state and be escorted to the level of an utterly perfect Buddha. By making this aspiration prayer with fervent devotion, you will dissolve into rainbow light in the heart of transcendent Lord Amitabha and his consort, and you will attain Buddhahood as the Buddha body of perfect resource in the Western Buddha field of the blissful Sukhavati.
Om Mani Padme Hum Shri. 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 The dissolution. Next, please.
Day 5. O child of Buddha nature, Rikibu, Brendan, listen without distraction. On the 5th day, the purity of the entire wind element will arise in the form of a green light. At that time, from the green northern Buddha field, called Matrix of Enlightened Activities, Karma Prasiddhi, Transcendent Lord Amoghasiddhi, with his retinue, will dawn before you, his body green in color, holding in his right hand a crossed vajra, seated on a Sivamsika bird throne, and embraced by his supreme consort Samayatara. These two are encircled by two male bodhisattvas, Vajrapani and Nivarana Vishkaban, and two female bodhisattvas, Ganda and Narti. Thus, 6 Buddha bodies will be shining before you from within a space of rainbow light. A green light indicative of the pristine cognition of accomplishment, which is the natural purity of the aggregate of motivational tendencies, green and dazzling, radiant and clear, bright and awesome, adorned by greater and lesser seminal points, will emanate from the heart of Amoghasiddhi and his consort, and will shine piercingly before you at the level of your heart with such brilliance that your eyes cannot bear it. Do not be afraid. This is the natural expressive power of your own awareness. Rest in a state of great equanimity, transcending activity, free from the dichotomies of attachment and aversion, based on your feelings of nearness and distance. Together with the light of pristine cognition, a dull red light indicative of the realm of the anti-gods will also dawn before you and touch your heart. Cultivate an equanimity toward this dull light which is free from attachment or aversion. Even if your mental capacity is diminished, at least do not delight in it. At this time, under the sway of deep envy, you will wish to turn away in terror from the bright and dazzling green luminosity. You will come to feel delight and attachment towards the dull red light of the anti-gods. At this moment, abandon your fear and recognize the green luminosity, bright and dazzling, radiant and clear, to be pristine cognition. Let your awareness relax and abide directly within it, resting in a state of non-activity. Pray with devotion, thinking, this is the light ray of the transcendent Lord, Amoghasiddhi's compassion. I take refuge in it. This, in reality, is the light ray hook of the transcendent Lord, Amoghasiddhi's compassion, which is known as the pristine cognition of accomplishment. Be devoted to it. Do not turn away. Even if you do turn away, the luminosity will accompany you inseparably. So do not be afraid. Do not be attached to the dull red light of the anti-gods. This is the inviting path of your past actions, which you yourself have engaged in, whilst motivated by deep envy. If you become attached to this dull light, you will fall into the realms of the anti-gods and experience the unbearable sufferings of unrelenting conflict and quarreling. This dull light is an obstacle blocking the path to liberation. Do not be attached to it. Give up your yearning. Do not cling to it. Be devoted to the green light, which is radiant and dazzling, and focus intently and single-mindedly on the transcendent Lord Amoghasiddhi and his consort, and recite the following aspirational prayer. Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence, driven by deep-seated envy, may the transcendent Lord Amoghasiddhi draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant light, which is the pristine cognition of accomplishment. May the Supreme Consort Samayatara support me from behind, and thus encircled may I be rescued from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state, and be escorted to the level of an utterly perfect Buddha. Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence, driven by deep-seated envy, may the transcendent Lord Amoghasiddhi draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant light, which is the pristine cognition of accomplishment. May the Supreme Consort Samayatara support me from behind, and thus encircled may I be rescued from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state, and be escorted to the level of an utterly perfect Buddha. Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence, driven by deep-seated envy, may the transcendent Lord Amoghasiddhi draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant light, which is the pristine cognition of accomplishment. May the Supreme Consort Samayatara support me from behind, and thus encircled may I be rescued from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state, and be escorted to the level of an utterly perfect Buddha. By making this aspirational prayer with fervent devotion, you will dissolve into rainbow light in the heart of the transcendent Lord Amoghasiddhi and his consort, and you will attain Buddhahood as the Buddha body of perfect resource in the northern Buddha field called Matrix of Enlightened Activities, Karma Prasiddhi.
Om Mani Padme Hum Shri. 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 Om Mani Padme Hum Shri Om Mani Padme Hum Shri. The dissolution. Day 6. O child of Buddha nature, Rikibu Kunchok Pema Dorje. Listen without distraction. Until yesterday, the visions of the 5 individual enlightened families arose before you. Despite this, even though the former introduction was given, you experienced awe and terror, a response generated by your habitual tendencies. Consequently, you have remained in your present state until now. If you had previously recognized one of the natural luminosities of the pristine cognitions of the 5 enlightened families as being a natural manifestation of actual reality, you would have dissolved into rainbow light at the heart of one of these Buddha bodies of the 5 respective enlightened families and attained Buddhahood in the Buddha body of perfect resource. Yet, since you have been unable to recognize these experiences as being natural manifestations, you have wandered here. Therefore, listen now without distraction. The vision of the entire peaceful assembly of the 5 enlightened families, together with that which is called the vision of the 4 pristine cognitions combined, will now come to invite you. Recognize this. O child of Buddha nature, Rikibu Kunchok Pema Dorje. At this time, the 4 colored lights, which are the 4 forms of the 4 elements, will dawn before you. And simultaneously, the Buddha Varanchana and his consort will arise, as before, from the central Buddha field of the pervasive seminal point, such as the Ankaniska Ganuvahaya. At the same moment, the Buddha Vajrasattva Ascobia and his consort, surrounded by their retinue, will arise from the eastern Buddha field of manifest joy, Abharati. The Buddha Ratnasambhava and his consort, together with their retinue, will arise from the southern Buddha field of the glorious Shamat. The Buddha Amitabha and his consort, together with their retinues, will arise from the western Buddha field of the blissful Sukhavati. And the Buddha Amagogasiti and his consort, together with their retinue, will now arise before you from the southern Buddha field called Matrix of Enlightened Activities, such as the Karma Prasiddhi, all arising together out of the space of a rainbow light. O child of Buddha nature, Rikibu Kunchok Pema Dorje. Encircling these male and female deities of the 5 enlightened families, the male gatekeepers, Trailokya Vijaya, Yamantaka, Hayagriva Raja, and Amrita Kundalin will also arise, together with their female gatekeepers, Ankusa, Pasa, Spota, and Ganta. In addition, the 6 emanational sages, who are transcendent lords, will also appear before you. Indrasaki, who is the sage of the gods. Vimasitra, who is the sage of the anti-gods. Shakyamuni, who is the sage of humans. Sturha Simha, who is the sage of animals. Svalamukha, who is the sage of the anguished spirits. And Dharma Raja, who is the sage of the hell beings. Accompanying above array, Samantabhadra and Samantabhadri will also arise before you in the form called Samantabhadri and consort, in union, the coalescence, which is the progenitor of all the Buddhas. These 42 assembled deities of the Buddha body of perfect resource will emanate from within your heart and then appear before you. Recognize them, for they have arisen from within your own pure vision. O child of Buddha nature, Rikibu Kunchuk Pema Dorje, these Buddha fields do not exist extraneously. They are the 5 aspects of your own heart, its 4 directions and center. Emanating now from within your own heart, they have arisen before you. These Buddha bodies have not arisen extraneously. They have spontaneously arisen atemporally from the natural expressive power of your own awareness. Therefore, recognize them as they are. O child of Buddha nature, Rikibu Kunchuk Pema Dorje, these Buddha bodies that you see before you are neither large nor small, but perfectly proportioned, and they are all adorned with their respective ornaments, costumes, colors, postures, thrones, and hand gestures. The array is made up of central couples of male and female deities, forming distinct clusters, and each cluster of 5 is encircled by an aura of 5 colored lights. All the male bodhisattvas of the 5 enlightened families who accompany the male Buddhas, all the female bodhisattvas of the 5 enlightened families who accompany the female Buddhas, and the entire mandala will arise before you, perfectly and simultaneously. So recognize them. They are your own meditational deities. O child of Buddha nature, Rikibu Kunchuk Pema Dorje, from the hearts of the male and female Buddhas of the 5 enlightened families, the light rays of the 4 pristine cognitions combined, very fine and clear, like a spider's web, will dawn before your heart, like the entwined light rays of the sun. First, a sheet of radiant white light rays, bright and awesome, indicative of the pristine cognition of reality's expanse, will emanate from the heart of Varanchana and touch your heart. Above this sheet of light, a white seminal point resembling a mirror facing downwards will arise, emanating light rays, extremely radiant, bright, and dazzling, adorned with 5 distinct seminal points of light nature, each of which in turn will be adorned by greater and lesser seminal points, forming an array with no center or horizon. Second, a sheet of radiant blue light, indicative of the mirror-like pristine cognition, will emanate from the heart of Vajrasattva Ascobia. Above this, a turquoise bowl facing downwards, a radiant blue seminal point will arise, also adorned by an array of greater and lesser seminal points. Third, a sheet of radiant yellow light, indicative of the pristine cognition of sameness, will emanate from the heart of Ratnasambhava. Above this, like a gold cup facing downwards, a radiant yellow seminal point will arise, also adorned by an array of greater and lesser seminal points. Fourth, a sheet of radiant red light, indicative of the pristine cognition of discernment, will emanate from the heart of Amitabha. Above this, a coral bowl, facing downwards, a radiant red seminal point will arise, extremely luminous and dazzling, resplendent with the luminosity of pristine cognition. It too will be adorned with 5 distinct seminal points of like nature, each of which, in turn, will also be adorned by greater and lesser seminal points, forming an array with no center or horizon. All of these lights and seminal points will indeed arise and touch your heart. O child of Buddha nature, Rikibu Kunchuk Pema Dorje. These radiances are arising out of the natural expressive power of your own awareness. They have not come from anywhere else. Therefore, do not be attached to them. Do not be afraid of them. Relax and rest in the non-conceptual state. Abiding in the state, all the Buddha bodies and light rays will merge into you, and Buddhahood will then be attained. O child of Buddha nature, Rikibu Kunchuk Pema Dorje. During the above series, the green light, indicative of the pristine cognition of accomplishment, will not arise. The reason for this is that the natural expressive power of pristine cognition, which is your own intrinsic awareness, is not yet perfected. O child of Buddha nature, Rikibu Kunchuk Pema Dorje. This array of luminosities that you now experiencing is called the vision of the 4 pristine cognitions combined. It is also known as the hollow passageway of Vajrasattva. At this time, therefore, you should recall the oral instructions which your spiritual teacher formally introduced to you. If you successfully recall this former introduction, you will have confidence in the visions that you have already arisen, and you will recognize them, just as there is an instant recognition at the meeting of a mother and her son, or just as one instantly recognizes an old acquaintance the moment one sees them. Cutting through any doubt, you will recognize these radiances to be the natural manifestations of actual reality. Achieving confidence in this way, in the unchanging path of pure reality, and sustaining a continuous meditative stability, you will dissolve into the Buddha body of great spontaneous present awareness and irreversibly attain Buddhahood in the Buddha body of perfect resource. O child of Buddha nature, Rikibu Kunchuk Pema Dorje. Together with the radiances of pristine cognition, the 6 dull lights indicative of the 6th realm, the 6 classes of beings who are obscured by impure and bewildering perception, will also arise simultaneously. That is to say, the dull white light of the gods, the dull red light of the anti-gods, the dull blue light of the humans, the dull green light of the animals, the dull yellow light of the anguished spirits, and the dull smoky light of the hells will arise alongside the radiances of pure pristine cognition. At that moment, do not seize upon or become attached to any of these lights. Relax and abide in a non-referential state. For if you are fearful of the pure radiances of pristine cognition and become attached to the impure lights of cyclic existence with its 6 classes of beings, you will assume a body amongst one of the 6 realms, and you will be debilitated, for there will be no immediate opportunity for escape from cyclic existence, this vast ocean of suffering. O child of Buddha nature, Rikibu Kunchuk Pema Dorje. If you are one who has not been introduced to the oral instructions of a spiritual teacher, you will be frightened and overwhelmed by these Buddha bodies and the radiances of pure pristine cognition just described, and you will feel attachment towards the dull lights of impure cyclic existence. Do not do this, Be devoted to the bright and dazzling radiances of pure, pristine cognition. Be full of devotion and think. The light rays of pristine cognition, which are the compassion of those gone to bliss, the transcendent lords of the five enlightened families, have come to seize me with compassion. I take refuge in them. Do not be attached to the bewildering lights of the six classes of beings. Do not cling to them. Focus one pointedly on the male and female Buddhas of the five enlightened families and recite the following aspirational prayer. Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence, driven by the five virulent poisons, may the transcendent conquerors, the male Buddhas of the five enlightened families, draw me forward, leading me on the light path of radiant light, which is the four pristine cognitions combined. May the five supreme female Buddhas, the purity of the expanse, support me from behind, and thus encircled may I be rescued from the light paths of the six impure classes of beings, released from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state. Released from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state, may I be escorted to the five utterly supreme and pure Buddha fields. Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence, driven by the five virulent poisons, may the transcendent conquerors, the male Buddhas of the five enlightened families, draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant light, which is the four pristine cognitions combined. May the five supreme female Buddhas, the purity of the expanse, support me from behind, and thus encircled may I be rescued from the light paths of the six impure classes of beings. Released from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state, may I be escorted to the five utterly supreme and pure Buddha fields. Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence, driven by the five virulent poisons, may the transcendent conquerors, the male Buddhas of the five enlightened families, draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant light, which is the four pristine cognitions combined. May the five supreme female Buddhas, the purity of the expanse, support me from behind, and thus encircled may I be rescued from the light paths of the six impure classes of beings, released from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state. May I be escorted to the five utterly supreme and pure Buddha fields. Om Mani Padme Hum Shri. 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 The dissolution. Take a deep breath and hold it. Exhale and hold it. Breathe normal. Please recite day 7.
Okay. Day 7. O child of Buddha nature, Riki Kibu, Jinpa Zangpo, listen without distraction. On the 7th day, a 5-faceted multicolored light, which is indicative of the purity of your habitual tendencies and the expanse of reality, will arise before you. Simultaneously, the divine assembly of awareness holders, arising from the pure realm of the skyfarers, will come forward to escort you. In the center of this mandala, suffused by rainbows and light, the unsurpassed Vidyadhara, known as awareness holder of maturation, Padmana Tesvara, will instantly arise, his body resplendent with the radiance of the 5 lights, embraced by his consort, a red Dakini, who is dancing with a blood-filled skull and a curved knife raised in the gesture of pointing to the sky. From the east of the mandala, the Vidyadhara, known as the awareness holder who abides in the levels, will instantaneously arise, his body white in color, his face radiant and smiling. He is embraced by his consort, a white Dakini, who is dancing with a blood-filled skull and a curved knife, raised in the gesture of pointing to the sky. From the south of the mandala, the Vidyadhara, known as the awareness holder, with power over lifespan, will instantaneously arise, his body yellow in color and adorned with the exquisite 80 minor marks. He is embraced by his consort, a yellow Dakini, who is dancing with a blood-filled skull and a curved knife, raised in a gesture of pointing to the sky. From the west of the mandala, the Vidyadhara, known as the awareness holder of the great seal of instantaneously arising, will instantaneously arise, his body red in color, his face both wrathful and smiling. He is embraced by his consort, a red Dakini, who is dancing with a blood-filled skull and a curved knife raised in the gesture pointing to the sky. From the north of the mandala, the Vidyadhara, known as the awareness holder of spontaneous presence, will instantaneously arise, his body green in color, his face both wrathful and smiling. He is embraced by his consort, a green Dakini, who is dancing with a blood-filled skull and curved knife, raised in the gesture pointing to the sky. Encircling these awareness holders, there will be inestimable crowds of Dakinis, the Dakinis of the 8 charnel grounds, Dakinis of the 4 enlightened families, Dakinis of the 3 abodes, Dakinis of the 10 directions, Dakinis of the 24 power places, spiritual heroes and heroines, faithful retainers, and protectors of the sacred teachings, all wearing the 6 kinds of bone ornaments, playing drums, thigh bone trumpets, skull drums, and waving banners made of the hide of naturally liberated beings, canopies and streamers of human hide. The entire display pervaded by an incense cloud of burning human flesh, reverberating with the sound of permeating all world systems, causing them to vibrate, tremble, and quake. The crescendo will reverberate as if to split your head. Performing their diverse dances, this array will come to escort those who have kept their commitments and bring to account those who have allowed their commitments to degenerate. O child of Buddha nature, Riki Bu Jin Pazangpo, a five-colored light, which is indicative of the purity of your habitual tendency and the expansive reality and co-emergent pristine cognition, composed of colored threads of light, twisted together, pulsing, shimmering, translucent, radiant, clear, bright, and awesome, will emanate from the hearts of the five principal awareness holders and will shine piercingly before you at the level of your heart with such brilliance that your eyes cannot bear it. At this moment, a dull green light indicative of the realms of the animals will arise simultaneously with the light of pristine cognition and touch your heart. At this time, bewildered and confused by your past habitual tendencies, you'll be frightened by the five-colored light and wish to turn away. Instantly, you will be attracted to the dull light of the animal realms. So therefore, do not be frightened now by the bright and flashing five-colored light. Do not be terrified. Recognize this radiance to be the pristine cognition. Within the five-colored light, all the natural sounds of these sacred teachings will resound like 1,000 simultaneously peals of thunder. There will resound like a violent echo, an overwhelming reverberation, a tumultuous crescendo, a cacophony of war cries, and pound with the roar of wrathful mantras of terrifying ferocity. Do not be afraid. Do not turn away. Recognize these sounds and luminosities to be the natural expressive power of your own awareness manifesting naturally. Do not be attracted to the dull green light of the animals. Do not cling to it. If you become attached to it, you will fall into the obscure realms of animals and be worshipped by the limitless and be enveloped by the limitless sufferings of obscuration, dumbness, and servility, from which there will be no immediate opportunities for release. So do not be attached to the dull green light. Be devoted to the five-colored light, which is radiant and dazzling. Focus intently and one-pointedly on the divine assembly of the awareness holders, the transcendent lords and spiritual teachers thinking. As you, the awareness holders, together with your attending heroes and dakinis, have come forward to escort me to the pure realms of the skyfarers, I implore you, pity sentient beings such as yourself who have failed to amass the accumulations of merit and cognition, and pity those such as I who have not been rescued until now, even though we have been embraced by the compassion of all the assembled deities of the five enlightened families, those gone to bliss throughout the three times. Today, may you, the divine assembly of awareness holders, not allow me to descend any further than this. Grasp me with the hook of your compassion and lead me immediately to the pure realm of the skyfarers. Focus intently and one-pointedly on the divine mandala of awareness holders. Recite the following aspiration prayer. Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence driven by deep-seated habitual tendency, may the divine assembly of awareness holders attend to me and lead me on the paths with great love. May the assembly of spiritual heroes and awareness holders draw me forward. Lead me on the path of radiant light, which is the luminescence of co-emergent great pristine cognition. May the supreme consorts, the hosts of dakinis, support me from behind, and thus encircled may I be rescued from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state and be escorted to the sacred pure realm of the skyfarers. Oh, as I roam through cyclic existence driven by deep-seated habitual tendencies, may the divine assembly of awareness holders attend to me and lead me on the path with great love. May the assembly of spiritual heroes and awareness holders draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant light, which is the luminescence of co-emergent pristine cognition. May the supreme consorts, the hosts of the Dakini, support me from behind, and thus in circle may I be rescued from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state and be escorted to the sacred pure realm of the skyfarers. Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence driven by deep-seated habitual tendencies, may the divine assembly of awareness holders attend to me and lead me on the path with great love. May the assembly of spiritual heroes and awareness holders draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant light, which is the luminescence of co-emergent pristine cognition. May the supreme consorts, the host of the Dakini, support me from behind, and thus in circle may I be rescued from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state and be escorted to the sacred pure realm of the skyfarers. By making this aspirational prayer with fervent devotion, you will dissolve into rainbow light in the heart of the five divine assembly of awareness holders, and thereafter undoubtedly be born into the pure realms of the skyfarers. All types of spiritual friends can attain recognition at this stage, and they will attain liberation. There is no doubt that even those with negative propensities can attain liberation at this point. This concludes the first part of Great Liberation by Hearing, the introduction to the inner radiance of the intermediate state of the time of death, and the introduction to the peaceful deities of the intermediate state of reality. Samaya Ja Ja Ja.
Om Mani Padme Hum Shri. 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 The dissolution. Take a deep breath and hold it. Exhale and hold it. Stay relaxed and breathe normal. Open your eyes. So as this was a study, anybody have any comments? What'd you think?
What to say? To say it's what, 7 days, right? 7 days with the five Buddha families and the five Buddha families combined, and then the Vijayadaras. So it's the first 7 days of the intermediate state, and well, it okay. Well, you know this better than I do. Before you see the five families, there's a period where you're in the natural state of reality, which depends upon the attainment of the person, how long that lasts. Some people say it lasts. Some people only last for the length of a finger snap. Other people may last for a long time. So this is after that, I assume. So the question is why the well, I don't know. You don't know either. Why first the peaceful deities and then the wrathful deities, and not the reverse? Do you have any
Because
feeling for that?
it's a from the top down. We
Okay.
study it
Top.
from the bottom up, but it's a top down experience. So the point is, are we, the spirit is released. If I can use that word, the spirit is released through the transference of consciousness, and its purity. Despite the fact that it may have karma and so on like that, and it goes through the bardo of death, and then from the bardo of death, it enters into the bardo of reality of the peaceful deities. And it's a question of being able then to recognize that you are that light, that you are those Buddhas. And failing that, then you begin, then the peaceful deities, with their compassion, then manifest as the wrathful deities, the fierce deities, in order to rescue you before you sink any further, to bring you back to the awareness of the peaceful deities. So that's the explanation. The wrathful deities are emanations of the peaceful deities.
Yeah, well, okay, sure. That's true, but so
And the other point is, and I've said this a few times, is by doing this practice, by engaging in this meditation, you begin to refine it. You begin to hone, your own sharp edge with this. You begin to knock away the misconceptions and the confusions through your own doing it. Because through doing it, you're experiencing it. And you say, oh, this doesn't fit because of the experience that I've had. And maybe you go back and you try it another way and so on. You're constantly going back and refining it and so on. So you refine this on your own by doing the practice. And I think that's the point. That's how we should approach this. It's not a one-off thing that we do this one time. That we have to make the mistake of doing something that we think is right, but then it doesn't give you the result that you're looking for. What's the result you're looking for? Samadhi. The king of samadhi, that peace, that the realization of the natural state. So what do Bernie, really, I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, do you think that, isn't that what practice is about, is for each of us to experience this on our own and to purify our own, misconceptions, confusions, etc.?
well, there are different practices and they have different goals. Of course, the ultimate goal of all practice is to attain enlightenment, but different practices cultivate different sides of that there are practices which cultivate love and compassion, and there are practices which cultivate devotion towards the different Buddhas, and there's practices which are to recognizing the natural state by leading to insight meditation. So there are different practices with different goals, and the whole point is that for various people, the easiest path is to identify with a Yidam deity. But that depends upon the nature of the person. Some people won't take very well to that kind of practice, and some people will take better to other types of practice. But I mean, the whole point is that the whole point that they're making throughout this thing is that they're saying all these deities are really the manifestation of your inner awareness. They come out of your chakras and they manifest in front of you. It's like seeing a projection of your own nature that has been hidden to you up to this point, probably, but finally is revealed to you in the internet, into the intermediate state. So anyway, that's how I understand it. I'm not always very clear after 8 o'clock at night, so that's the best I can do right now. So.
Okay. Well, thank you. Brendan, what comments do you have?
Throughout this evening, I've been thinking about what would happen if you were able to avoid getting distracted by these other forms of light that you're admonished not to engage with, the more dull lights. And I kept thinking about the Pure Land, and is that ultimately what could happen? Is that if you don't have a bad rebirth, if you don't get reborn back into the human realm or the hell realm or something like that, and then at the very end, I read, "Be born into the pure realm of the Skyfarers," which sounds a little bit like the Pure Land. Perhaps they're the same thing. So that's just what I was concentrating on.
Well, the Pure Land is another way of saying the Buddha fields. So there's the Buddha, so the peaceful deities and the wrathful deities, all are the Bardo of reality, and that's that Pure Land of all of them. One Pure Land, you're in all the Pure Lands. It becomes that. The Skyfarers, though, remember, they're in the throat, and the peaceful deities are all in the heart. So the Skyfarers are part of this that is happening here, and this is working on the habitual tendencies and so on. So there's a little bit of a different aspect to that, and that Pure Land of the Skyfarers in Sanskrit is called Kachari. So you can look that up and see what that means to you. That's the name of that particular Pure Land is Kachari.
Thank you.
So it's almost perfect, but not quite perfect. It's not the perfection of the heart deities, of the peaceful deities, but it's a perfection of the habitual tendencies. And you could argue, that that's the final purification. So that's an interesting way of looking at it, and I'd have to think about that for a minute. Do you see this? What value do you see this practice, Brendan?
I see it as value of preparing for the Bardo when we do die, first of all, so that it's not unfamiliar to us, and also just as a meditative practice in our daily life. I appreciated the opportunity to meditate after each of the different readings, so that's the value I saw in it.
Yeah, we talk about, there's 6 bardos. So the bardo of living, and the bardo of living is the bardo of contains the Bardo of dreams and also the Bardo of meditative concentration. The Bardo of dreams, starts out as an involuntary process, which, and we learn to adapt meditative concentration to it. And this Bardo Thodol, as we've been reading and everything, is the elucidation, I think, of the meditative concentration Bardo. What does that mean? What is the meditative concentration? And this is the penultimate of that meditative concentration. That that leads to the point of the pristine cognition, which is the clear light. And then even this then falls away. All the symbolism falls away because the other way of looking at the Bardo Thodol is the expression of the Sambhogagaya, which is the display of the Dharmakaya. So we begin to see, more clearly, those differentiations, but also at the same time seeing it that it's all the same thing. But in our world as a human being, we differentiate, and there's value in that. Alex, in the little bit you were with us, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to, join in any of the other YouTube sessions. Do you have any comment about this?
Um, no, it's great to read it together and contemplate and hear what other people have to say. But I actually remember now that at some point in the past I came across this book translated into Russian, and I read it in Russian many years ago.
Oh, really?
And I'm remembering now. I'm remembering uh, coming across these passages and not quite know like how to interpret them or what to think of them. But I kind of accepted it and thought maybe well later I have a better idea. Um, but frankly, it's not that different from what I understood, having very little background in Tibetan Vajrayana, at that time. So that was even before I met with Kempo and met with Garchen Rinpoche, His Eminence, and yeah, long time ago. Um, my grandfather was still alive, and ooh, I hoped I would read to him someday, but unfortunately he passed away. Um, b- but I had that motivation that wow, I really want to read that to someone
Mm-hmm.
if I'm there, fortunate enough
Mm-hmm.
to be next to them at that moment.
Do you think that there's a value, as I was saying before, that this helps with the Bardo of meditative concentration in the Bardo of living? Do you think that,
Yes, yes, I think it corresponds to different instructions that are given when you in meditation suddenly you see some kind of lights, you see some kind of phenomena, you see some kind of visions, and once in a while I had those, and you don't know quite, or even in the dream, even in the dream we may see something like that. I think I did, and like it is easily to be bewildered. Is it easily to like freeze or like be startled? So having those warnings and having like additional instruction and pointers on how to hold our center, how to what to think of, what not to think of, what to follow, what not to follow. It's really, you know, um, certainly a great value, it seems to me.
Very good. Thank you. Yes. All right. Does anybody else have anything that you'd like to add? Okay. Well, then, Brendan, I would like you, please, to end this tonight on page 211. Is read these passages from the prayer that rescues from the dangerous pathways. So where it begins Om Ah Hong, if you would read that to the end of page 213, I think that kind of seals up, what we have experienced this evening, and then we can go
Happy.
to the dedication part. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, as I roam in cyclic existence, driven by deep-seated, bewildering perceptions, may the assembly of blood-drinking, wrathful deities draw me forward, leading me on the path of radiant rainbow light, which is free of fear and terrifying perceptions. May the assembly of the Krodasvari queens of the expanse support me from behind, and thus encircled may I be rescued from the fearsome passageway of the intermediate state and be escorted to the level of an utterly perfect Buddha. Om, ah, hom. May the fields of the five elements not arise as a hostile force. May I see them as the fields of the five Buddhas. May the elements of space not arise as a hostile force. May I see them as the field of the blue Buddha. May the elements of water not arise as a hostile force. May I see them as the field of the white Buddha. May the elements of earth not arise as a hostile force. May I see them as the field of the yellow Buddha. May the elements of fire not arise as a hostile force. May I see them as the field of the red Buddha. May the elements of wind not arise as a hostile force. May I see them as the field of the green Buddha. May the awesome sounds, lights, and rays not arise as a hostile force. May I see them as the infinite fields of the peaceful and wrathful deities. May the rainbow-colored elements not rise up as a hostile force. May I see them as the fields of the manifold Buddhas. May I recognize all sounds as my own sounds. May I recognize all lights as my own lights. May I recognize all rays as my own rays. May I spontaneously recognize the characteristics of the intermediate states. May the fields of the three Buddha bodies be manifest. Samaya.
And then page 218, please.
Bear with me for one moment. My pages are slightly out of order, but I will find it. Through the compassion of Samantabhadra and the infinite peaceful and wrathful deities, by the power of the true truth of pure reality, and by the blessing of the mantrans who practice one-pointedly, may every wish of this aspirational prayer be fulfilled. Samaya.
And then 219.
Bengala, Shri, Daswala, Jambudvipa, Alangakara, Bhatwantu. By the virtue of this Dharma work, may all sentient beings be free from suffering and attain enlightenment. Sarva Mangalam, may all beings and activities be auspicious for the benefit of the enlightenment of all sentient beings.
Om Ah Hong. Om Ah Hong. Om Ah Hong. May my body, speech, and mind become inseparable with the body, speech, and mind of all the enlightened ones for the benefit of all sentient beings. Well, thank you all very much. And next week we'll conclude with the wrathful, fierce deities and read about them, recite them.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Excellent.
Thank you, Bernie. Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Thank you, Brendan. Thank you, Alex. Thank everybody on YouTube. Okay, so we'll see you next time then.
Good night.
Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you.